Eury Perez is back. However, the losing streak continues. Chisholm Jr. is back. Bombs are back. Unfortunately, the losing streak still continues. Tons to get into from yesterday's game with Steven Strom. This is Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England. Welcome to Locked On Marlins. This, of course, is your daily Marlins podcast. I'm your host, Peter Pratt. Hit me up on X or Twitter or wherever, whatever you call it these days, at Miami Marlins _UK. This, of course, is your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. Guys, reminder, there is a YouTube channel. Get on over there. Hit subscribe also. If you are watching on YouTube now, you have the benefit of the graphics, the benefit of the rundown, giving you the blueprint for this episode. Also, the benefit of seeing two young studs. Kind of young. I mean, I'm not that young. But anyway, Steven Strom is in the house. His Locked On Marlins debut. How we doing, brother?
Pete, I'm living the dream right now. I'm on with you. I'm very excited. Hopefully we get the vibes up this afternoon. Hopefully we get a win here tonight.
Let's go. The vibes need to be high. Mate, I just wanted to, before we kind of dig into yesterday's game, just this season feels like it's been a roller coaster. 14 games over 500 at one point. Many of the lasting memories, I think, of the 2023 season will be Kyle Sealaff clips of crazy calls of Marlins crazy wins. I know we're in the dark days right now. Ground zero, some may say. But there has been a lot of bright spots in this year, right?
Oh my God, there's been a ton. I mean, this is my first year here with the Marlins, and I know they haven't had great success in the recent years. So just being a part of this with Kyle, with everyone, I mean, this was so new to me, right? And, you know, like you said 14 games over 500. The types of wins that the Marlins had, just jumping off the top of my head here, the White Sox one with Brian De La Cruz, they're down, I think it was 5-1 in the 8th inning. The Soler walk-off. I mean, there has been so many moments throughout this season where you can look at it and say, I could end this season and feel pretty good about how many moments we had. But you say that, and then you get to 14 over, you start thinking about the playoffs, and then you get to the point where you start to believe. So the context changes, but regardless, 2023, this season has been so much fun, and it's not over yet. You know, I think that's the big message here is there's still 49 games left, 48 games left, game and a half out of the wild card. Let's just roll the dice and see what happens here.
The Marlins are in exactly the position where they want to be. All year long, we have seen the Marlins, they're never dead. Always scrapping, always on these crazy comeback wins. It would be so un-Marlins-like to just go 14 games over 500 and then just play 500 ball and cruise on into the wild card. That's not how the Marlins do it. We need a bit of adversity. You know, now we're in the adversity. Now it's about, can this team come back? And for me, that's when this team comes alive. How are the vibes around me? Because you've been with the team all year. You know, you mentioned we want to get the vibes high. It's been a rough stretch, obviously, since the break. But just, you know, you're around the team daily in Cincinnati right now. Try and describe the vibes and how everyone's kind of feeling at this point.
Well, I think there's obvious frustration, right, because of the results on the field right now. But Skip Schumacher has reiterated, and I've seen it, and everyone that covers this team has seen it. Nothing has changed as far as preparation, urgency, all of those things that they were doing in the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, they're still doing the same. Now, I will tell you, yesterday, there was a different vibe in the clubhouse because Eury was here, right? People are excited to see him. They're excited to get him back here, hopefully for the rest of the 2023 season. So again, you know, you learn a lot about your team, yourself as a player, as a manager, as a broadcaster, you know, when you go through these stretches, because it's easy when you're winning and you're coming back and you're doing all these magical things, but you learn a ton about your team and who you are during these stretches. And again, we're going to keep reiterating this. They're still in a good spot. they still have an opportunity here tonight against Cincinnati team that is struggling as well to get back on track. But I would say the vibe is still, pretty similar to what it was before. Now there's urgency, of course, like they know what's going on. They feel it a little bit, but I don't think anything has changed from a preparation and attitude standpoint.
Nah, that's good to hear. And I know, let's get into Eury Perez because, yesterday it was a comeback game for him. I was intrigued to understand. I think it's a really great insight you've shared there, that the clubhouse vibe, you drop in Eury Perez, all of a sudden there's a little boost. And listen, for me, watching that game live, I watched the first few innings live and then caught the rest this morning, in my usual pattern.
Yep.
Eury Perez, that first way through, the lineup was, I've not seen him any better, to be honest with you. It was absolutely electric.
Yep.
The first time through. Clear that the Reds, they changed, they had a plan. They had a plan with Eury. They were just looking to run into something, I think, and just cause damage with the long ball. But just overall, what was your impressions of Eury coming back after, only throwing like less than 6 innings in the past month? So a lot of pressure on Eury Perez too.
Yeah, really good point. He's only made 2 starts prior to this outing here in Cincinnati. I think it was 3 1/3 and 2 2/3, whatever it was. It was a smaller stint. But yesterday, look, I think you saw the Reds really try to attack his fastball early. The 2 home runs that he gave up to Encarnacion and Votto were first pitch fastballs, and you saw that early on, particularly in the first inning, that they were going to go after him. Now, he still punches out 7. He strikes out the side in the second. But I think this is what you expect when you have your first start. It's kind of like a little bit of up and down. I think for the most part, though, you walk away from that start and saying you feel good about Eury Perez. The third inning was stressful, 33 pitches. It's baseball's so funny, man. It's like, one pitch can change the whole outing, right? He has this long at bat to Friedel and he rips down a triple, and then it's obviously the Reds take a 2-1 lead. And you think you just get one pitch down, you're out of the inning, and then it's a whole different script. But look, the impression is the fastball was awesome. Used a lot of slider combination as well. Didn't see the changeup as much. His mix was different yesterday. But that's, it's expected. You're going to have to adapt as the season goes on. And, we're so excited to see Eury back up here is really the story of yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. The expectation, I guess, at this point is Eury Perez just with the Marlins now rest of the way, I guess. I know there's talk of hypothetical pitch or innings counts, etc. But I guess right now, 48, 49 games, whatever it might be to go, you're looking to have Eury as part of this rotation the rest of the way, right?
Yeah, I can't, confirm that, but I think everyone sort of assumes he is here for the rest of the way in 2023. He evens out the rotation now with 5-man with Cabrera going down, being optioned. So I think that's the hope. I think that was the plan. I know that when we spoke with Kim, this was pretty fairly mapped out on how she wanted to organize this. And now he's up here. It's funny. It was a month to the time where he was sent down. He was sent down July 7th, back up August 7th for this series, and a team that he faced his first start overall. I tweeted out yesterday, though, it was just a completely different lineup. Yeah, I think there was only 3 players from that May 12th start in the lineup here for Cincinnati.
And by the way, that was one of my favorite tweets I've seen in a long time because, and for those that haven't seen it, effectively what you've got is lineups written on a scrap of paper, names scratched out, names, whatever. And I was just like, wow, that is some old school. Well, there you go. We got the notebook.
I got the notebook. I got the notebook because this guy is a freak as far as preparation. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to take a little bits and pieces of Mr. Kyle Seeloff, and I actually got my own. This one's cooler, though. This one has a Nike sign development series. Makes me feel a little bit cooler with the Nike check. But yes, I am old school. I like to write down a bunch of this stuff, and hopefully some of it sticks.
Right, but you're right, though, just on the Reds, right? Like when we saw them when Eury came up, and he was brought up to like what I would describe as a bit of a soft landing spot for him to give him a really good opportunity to succeed. The Reds are a different club now than they were back then. They've gone on a surge too, but equally, they're facing the same as are the Diamondbacks. All of these 3 clubs, the Marlins,
the Angels,
and the Angels, all these clubs that like have surged, are buying at the deadline, now they've had like a bit of a post deadline or even a post All-Star break kind of blues. So this is the beautiful thing for the Fish is like no one else has really paced.
Taken
What
off.
you've had is the bottom of caught up with the Cubs and the Padres, I'd say in particular, have really kind of joined the pack. So it's going to be one hell of a thrilling wildcard race now. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I know it gets annoying, the narrative. Like, we understand, like, the Marlins have not played good in the second half. But the goal the entire year was the NL wild card. The Braves are in a class of their own, and that's fine. They're a tremendous team. But it was always about the NL wild card, you know? So that's what I try to look at. Of course, you try to worry about what you can do tonight as far as winning. But then I'm scoreboard watching. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm seeing the Diamondbacks struggle. You know, you're seeing the Reds, you know, up to yesterday, lost 6 in a row. So, again, 48 games left. There is so much time. There's so much baseball to be played. Marlins can rip one off tonight and, you know, take 2 out of 3, head home, and all of a sudden you're on a 6-game homestand with the Astros and the Yankees. You see what happens. But, you know, it stinks to be playing poorly at this point, but it's worse to be playing like this late in September when these games are really, really, I mean, these are pivotal. It's a pivotal series.
Yeah.
But you get later in the year, you know, when we talk about clinching scenarios, you talk about those. For me, it's like, just go through this now, get out of it, and then let's go. Let's race to the finish line.
Everyone has it. No team, we even see it with the Bravos right now. The Bravos are, you know,
I know,
they're having a slump too. Like, it happens. No panic. This team is miles better than it was going into the deadline. I think Kim did a great job. This team, this club is better, and it's healthy. It's the healthiest team, I think, in Major League Baseball right now. Like, I know a few guys are down, but there's always going to be guys down. So there can't be any excuses here. This team is healthy. They're just going through a bit of a rough stretch, but, you know, today is the day to come out of that. Guys, let's talk about our good friends over at BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And of course, you know, listen, sometimes in life we're faced with tough choices and the path forward isn't always clear. Whether you're dealing with decisions around career, relationships, or anything else, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life, so you can move forward with confidence and excitement. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists if you need to at any time. No additional charge. Don't matter. You'll be connected. If it doesn't work, you can switch it up. No problem. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. You can visit betterhelp.com/lockedonmlb today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, as in HELP.com/lockedonmlb. All right, you're here with Peter Pratt and Stephen Strom on Locked On Marlins. Tuesday's episode. Stephen Strom joining us from Cincinnati right now, which is, we're a significant distance apart right now. But Eury Perez is back. What we also saw yesterday, Chisholm Jr. returned, and he returned, well, with Jazz style, I would say. For me, I think this is the most critical thing for the Marlins here at this point, is Chisholm Jr. staying on the field and participating on a daily basis right up to the end of this regular season. What about you?
Look, man, I mean, everyone here knows about Jazz. Everyone knows about his impact, obviously with his bat, but defensively, I think he's made so much improvement out in center field. I mean, yesterday you just saw it just sometimes feels effortless. Like, he'll just come out here and he takes a hack and just rips this thing opposite field. And it's just like, you know, he's a freak. You know, he really is. He's so talented. And I know he's so frustrated on just his durability. You know, he tells us that he's never worked any harder in pregame stuff and postgame stuff. And sometimes this, you know, I guess this stuff kind of happens. We're 25 years old, you know, but for this thing to run, I mean, I totally believe that Jazz healthy in the field, in the lineup, this is just a completely different Marlins team. Wherever you put him, if you want to put him at cleanup, we'll see what Skip does here. I mean, maybe he wants to change up the lineup a little bit, but he's willing to bat in that leadoff spot, in that 4 spot. Heck, we've seen him in that 6 spot. But just the excitement to have Jazz back, and now it's just stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? If it means maybe DH him. You know, this team is better with Jazz Chisholm in the lineup. There's more energy. There's more speed, obviously power. And defensively, he's gotten a lot better. So to see Jazz yesterday, of course, pinch hit, his first pinch hit home run of his career yesterday.
Oh, was it? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's great to see him out there, and hopefully he's out here. We don't have a lineup yet, but I'm assuming he'll be out here after what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. I think the obviously the cramp and the hamstring and a ton of lefties kind of queued up for a few days. It was like, okay, it's the perfect spot to just let him get right. But the Marlins.
And keep in mind, Skip also said with him and Avi that he wasn't going to play them every day initially. They were going to give every other day just to ease them back in. And if that means taking it slow to get them for the rest of the 2023 calendar year, that's what they were going to do. So, I mean, maybe you think of it as this was planned, but
yeah, there you go. It was a planned cramp, I guess.
Planned cramp, yeah.
What did you make? I want to talk about Joey Wendle and also look ahead to the Yankee series that's upcoming, which should be fun for many different reasons. But what did you make of the Jorge Soler home run yesterday? It was one of the funniest reactions to a home run I've seen in a long time from Soler.
So if you follow Marlins radio, Kyle has crazy, home run calls, and it's hilarious because he'll be loud, but just be like this. Like if I was calling, I'd be like, "Hey, what a Jorge Soler, right field, she's gone." He's just like, and Soler, So when I heard it initially, I was like, "Oh, fly out, F9 out to right," and it just kept carrying. And Brent Brown had told us that this is just one of the best hitter parks in the game. Yeah. So when Soler hits this, I mean, he thought it was a pop out. He kind of slammed his bat, and you just kept carrying. And then it was almost like the Jordan shrug when he saw it go over the bases. He was just like, all right. And we were just like, and I was like, it's gone. So the reaction up here was, how did that travel to that point? But if you look at all of the measurements, it makes sense because this is a hitter-friendly park. I mean, I'm telling you, if I got a tennis racket and maybe a tennis ball that happened to be a little bit stronger, I mean, maybe I can turn on one.
Oh boy, Stephen Strom, power hitter. There we go. Now we've got it. You got to hear Lock the Marlins. You weren't involved in that. There was some sort of softball game. I don't know who was involved. Maybe you guys were. I don't even know if you were on the road at that point, but you weren't involved in that, right?
I was not involved. I wish I would have known a little bit earlier because I would have probably played first and probably got multiple hits. I will tell you, Pete, I will be in the lineup next season. I made sure of that. I voiced my opinion on not hearing about it earlier.
Discontent is what I'm hearing. That's the word I'm thinking of. There's some.
I'm ready. I'm a guy that loves physical activity, and I also love baseball. So let's just say next year, just expect number 14 in that lineup.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. There you go. There's some breaking news there on this episode. Then expect him in the lineup. We're going to talk about Joey Wendle as well and some struggles there and the Yankee series. Before we do that, let you know about our good friends over at eBay Motors, guys. Yes, sir. And if you are, for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage or Garage, or however you pronounce that one, and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts, that's a lot of parts, to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride! eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available for U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. Love the legals. All right, we're running low on time here, so let's continue this conversation. Joey Wendle pressure. Listen, I am heavily engrossed in Marlins Twitter. My feed is only Marlins Twitter. Right now, it's fair to say Marlins Twitter is struggling with Joey Wendle's performance, particularly offensively. Xavier Edwards is absolutely lighting it up in AAA, the hottest hitter, I think, in minor league baseball at this point. Can you understand that from a Marlins perspective? I personally understand Xavier Edwards is absolutely tearing it up, but I know Wendell's he started slow, came hot. He's gone slow again, gone a bit cold. I think he's going to work through it, and he'll be given the opportunity to work through it. What about you?
He'll be given the opportunity to work through it. I think you're 100% right. I mean, you look at his numbers, and I just had pulled it up. He started off slow, similar to Segura in the beginning of the year, and hits 354 in June, and Joey Wendle is going to stay in the lineup. I mean, he's a great clubhouse guy, and he's done it for so long, Pete. You got to give those guys the benefit of the doubt. Of course, he's going through it just like everyone does. I know it hasn't been probably the year that he anticipated. I know he started out on the IL earlier in the year, and I think he was still hampering from that coming back. And then you saw in June, man, 354. He was ripping the cover off the ball. He's going through it right now. I still believe in Joey Wendle. As far as Xavier Edwards, we saw him, great kid. First of all, did well when he was up here for the limited opportunities that he was in, and then just tearing the cover off the ball down in AAA. I mean, I think he was player of the week. He had 6 hits a couple of nights ago. Very excited for what Xavier Edwards' future here with Miami. But as far as Wendell, I believe that he's a guy that you want in your lineup. And I was even saying this about Segura when he was with us. Marlins make a postseason run. Let's just say they figure some things out here and they get into that wild card spot. Just would not surprise me if I looked down the averages in a postseason and I saw a guy like Joey Wendle batting 370, because the guy's been there before, veteran guy, and I trust his bat.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, former All-Star, right? The pedigree's there.
And a clubhouse guy, Pete, you got to think, during these stretches, I know everyone wants to see Xavier Edwards, but having a clubhouse guy is so underrated, specifically in times like this, and Joey is that.
Yeah, it's funny, right? And this is the thing where you see more of that, like Marlins Twitter. We don't see anything like that. But there was a clip earlier in the year. I remember Joey Wendle was up giving an award, a Player of the Game award. I can't remember who actually received the award, but either way, I was like, that's really intriguing that it's Joey Wendle up there. That's
every
the award.
win. Yep, he's the vocalist. Yep, he's screaming in there. Let's go, get everyone get up there.
And you'd never know it, right? Yep. Like to the average fan, I say average fan, but to all the fans, it's hard to make that connection with what you see on the field in some ways. It doesn't, you don't expect that in some ways. So it really took me back, and I was like, that's really intriguing that Joey Wendle is playing that role. But speaking about big series to come, the Yankees coming to Lone Depot. Already the texts are out there, the emails, everything. It's going to be a packed house. So we saw it again for the the Tigers series for obvious reasons. We're expecting something similar. Big Giancarlo Stanton may be back as well. You never know with Big G, to be honest with you, health-wise, but let's hope he is. Just try to explain or describe how the atmosphere was in that Tiger series in particular when you've got that fully packed out Lone Depot this year.
Oh my gosh, that Saturday for Venezuelan Heritage Day, that was an unbelievable crowd, and it stunk that the Marlins ended up getting shut out that game.
Yeah,
but
that wasn't timely.
Man, the blueprint is out. You saw the WBC, and you've seen some good crowds this year. You have, and that place gets loud. So Saturday, it was a great crowd. As far as this weekend, it's a little personal to me because I'm from Jersey, and let's be politically, I'm not a huge fan of the Yankees because my father's from Minnesota. We grew up Twins fans. And let's just say every time the Twins got to the playoffs, they would face the Yankees, and the Yankees would, take care of us. So this series I got some juice going into this series because it's the Yankees, number one. Number two, because we're expecting sold out crowds Friday, Saturday, and huge guests, Derek Lee, Carl Pavano, Josh Beckett. There's a ton of Marlins coming on that Friday. So it's just gearing up to be an incredible weekend off the field and having guys on the field for, Flashback Friday. But then we know the pivotal series here with the Yankees, and every series feels huge now towards the end. So it's going to be an exciting homestand. Astros first, Yankees on the weekend. I can't wait. I'm so fired up for it.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely en fuego, I think, this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stephen, let's get you out of here because I know you got things to be doing there in Cincinnati, pregame stuff. So I appreciate you joining me for your debut on Locked On Marlins. For everyone else listening in as well, of course, you can catch every pitch of the Marlins broadcast with the Sirius XM broadcast on the SXM app. Just search Marlins for that one. Marlins Reds, big game here for the Marlins. They need to They need to end this streak, and they need to end it now. Stephen Strom, Peter Pratt on Locked On Marlins. We'll see you tomorrow.